Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for PSHE now, which stands for Personal, Social, Health and Economic Education. And it's that last one that we're going to be thinking about today. It's that E, which stands for economic. And so it's all about money. Now, you'll remember that very recently we did our maths unit all about money. And we also did a PSHE lesson about money fairly recently as well. And we're going to be moving on today to think about saving money. Now, here is a quick story for you. Here is Amy. She is, let's say she's maybe in college, so she's still a young person, still in education, but she just got her first ever part-time job. And in Amy's case, lucky her, she's working in a nice cafe. It's obviously before the pandemic. And she's just been paid her first ever wage, and your wage is the money that you get from your job. Now, she's just had a look at her pay slip. That's where it says how much money you've earned from your job. And she has been paid £100. She says this: great, now I can afford those £100 trainers that I've been after. What do you think? Can Amy afford the trainers? What else could she do with her money? What do you think? Have a quick pause and a quick chat about that. Okay, so the maths part of this is fairly straightforward, isn't it? If she's been paid £100 and she wants to buy some £100 trainers, she can afford it, can't she? She can afford the trainers. But is it a good idea to? Is it necessarily the best way to spend her money? Well, that's a little bit more tricky, isn't it? Maybe that is absolutely the most pressing thing in her life and she wants the £100 trainers. Fair enough. She's worked hard. She's earned it. You go and get those trainers, Amy. No one's going to stop you. But what else could she have done with the money? Do you think there's anything else that she should be doing with it? What do you reckon? Well, when you've got money, you can spend it like Amy, or you can save it. And saving money means keeping it to use later. And we're going to be thinking all about saving money today. So maybe this is a concept that's already familiar to you. Maybe you are already a bit of a saver yourself. So I'm sure you've maybe had some experience of this in your life before. Maybe there's been something you wanted to afford, you didn't have all the money for it, and so you saved up to buy it. Now, what might someone want to save their money for then? Can we think of any examples? So again, pause the video now, have a bit of a chat. Why might someone want to save their money? What kind of things might they want to save their money for? Okay, I bet for those of you at home, a lot of yours will have fallen into this category, which is what I'm calling sort of nice, happy, exciting purchases, which we really, really want to make. Now, I bet loads of you were thinking along, this kind of lines, weren't you? The games consoles, often expensive items, which we're really, really excited to buy, that cost more money than we have right now, we will need to save up for. And I wonder how many of you actually have said to mum and dad, Mum, Dad, please, please, can I get the new Xbox? Please, can I have a PlayStation? And they'll say to you, you can, but you'll need to save up for it, which means you can't afford it right now and you can't have it right now. But we can save up money. So, okay, maybe we get £5 a week in pocket money. I don't know what it's like in your home, but maybe it's something like that. And obviously £5 isn't enough money to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation. And so you can't afford that right now. But maybe you could if you kept saving that money. If you didn't spend that £5, but you kept that £5 to use later, and then, you kept on saving your £5 and you kept on saving, and then maybe, you get a bit of birthday money and you save that as well, then maybe sooner or later you could afford a purchase like that, which you're really excited about buying. For lots of adults will save money as well. Lots of adults are saving money for a house, super, super expensive houses. I think the average cost of a house around here is probably around £300,000, which is a lot of money. And clearly not many people have £300,000 lying around in the bank account. Now, there might be other ways to buy things like that, and we'll look more at that in future videos, but you would need to save up a good amount of money to buy a house like that. Certainly things like cars as well. Cars are things people would often save up money for. A nice car might be £10,000 or more, And again, it's unlikely people are going to have £10,000 lying around. Some people are lucky too, but most people would need to save up for something like that. And doesn't that look really, really nice and appealing at the moment? That last one, the holiday. Oh, what I'd give for a holiday like that at the moment, eh? So certainly many people will save up through the year for a nice holiday, so a nice trip away. Right now, you're not really going to be able to do it, but certainly I bet lots of people, maybe your mums and dads at the moment, are saving lots of money for a nice holiday as soon as they're allowed to, as soon as the pandemic is over. So very often it's really nice things like this that people are saving up for. All of these would be really exciting purchases. Even if you're not that excited about a house, I bet mum and dad would be really excited about buying a house. So all of these things, really nice, exciting purchases, which we're really enthusiastic about. We're like, yeah, I want to save my money up for that. But is it only exciting things that you need to save up for? What else might you suddenly need money for? Can you think of any examples of that? Have a good chat at home about this. Why else might people save up? Well, the sad fact of life is sometimes we might have some unexpected costs. This might be one more for the adults, but definitely life is full of unexpected costs, I'm afraid. Sad but true. So here's a few I thought of. Definitely when things break and we need to repair them. So whether that's kind of exciting tech and gadgets like our phones, if we smash our phone, we might suddenly need to unexpectedly buy a new one or get it repaired. Definitely things like washing machines, boilers are notorious for this. Maybe cars as well. Things that we buy do sometimes break and we need to buy new ones. That can cost a lot of money and we might not be expecting it. So it's a good idea to save up for these things in advance. So sometimes we save up for things that we don't actually know we're going to need as yet. We might just save money for what some adults call a rainy day. Now, that doesn't literally mean on days where it's raining that you sort of spend money to cheer yourself up. That phrase, saving money for a rainy day, means saving money for when things go wrong. And, vets would be another example of this. If your cat or dog or whatever suddenly falls ill, you might suddenly need to pay for some treatment for them to help them to get better. So all of these things would also be examples that we're saving up for, but it might actually be that we're saving up money, not with something in particular in mind, but just knowing that we might need it at some point. And that is another really good reason for adults in particular to be saving money as well. So if we go back to Amy, now, don't get me wrong, if it's her first ever job, maybe she just wants to spend £100. It's not a case of saying that all spending's bad and all saving's good, because there's definitely good things and bad things about both. But Amy, she might want to spend her £100 on her trainers, but maybe she wants to spend some of the money and save some of it as well. She might be saving up for something exciting like a car. She might be putting some money aside for a rainy day. So she might be saving up that money for an emergency purchase. Maybe, her phone's going to break one day and she needs to buy a new one. So all of these things would be good reasons to save money. But hey, she might want to spend it as well. There are good reasons for saving. There are good reasons for spending. And there's some disadvantages for both as well. We'll talk about those in a minute. So I want to give you a couple of stories for you to have a bit of a talk about and a chat about at home. Here is Lara. And she's maybe a little bit older than you, but not by too much. Lara has been using all of her pocket money to buy stickers for her album each week. That's her favourite thing to spend money on. She loves spending money on stickers. And normally when she gets her £2 pocket money each week, she buys £2 worth of stickers. But she suddenly remembers that it's her mum's birthday in 4 weeks' time. And she hasn't saved any money yet to buy her a present. So what could Lara be doing? Have you got any ideas of your own? What could Lara do? She's got a few options here. Here are some of the options, but this is by no means all of them. I wonder which of these three things you would suggest she does, or maybe you've got some ideas of your own. So one option, Lara could miss out on stickers next week and use that money to buy her mum a small present. So we said she'd got £2 a week in her pocket money, but she normally spends £2 a week on stickers. So option one, she could not buy any stickers that week, but buy her mum a small present with that money. Option 2, she should not buy as many stickers for the next 4 weeks and save money for her mum's present. So what this might mean is, okay, maybe she still spends a little bit of money each week on stickers. Maybe she still spends £1.50 each week on stickers, but she saves 50p a week for the next 4 weeks, and then she's got £2 to buy her mum a present. Maybe that's a nice thing she could do. Or option 3, she shouldn't give her mum a present this year. Now, there's no right or wrong options here. I'm interested in what you would do. What do you think is the most sensible thing? What would you advise Lara to do? Pause the video and have a good chat about that at home. What would you recommend that Lara does, and what would you do in her situation? Okay, so we've got a few options here, don't we? Like I said, that it's not a case of one being right or wrong, and different people do different things here. So one option is that she doesn't give her mum a present this year. Now, that's okay. Some people don't, and that might be what some people choose to do. But some people might have thought, you know what, I really want to get my mum a present. And then we've got these two options, haven't we? We could say we could actually spend the first week of her pocket money on mum's present straight away. And the advantage of that is she's got mum's present straight away. She's got that in the bag, doesn't need to think about it anymore. And it means that in weeks 2, 3, and 4, she could carry on buying her stickers like she normally wants to. And that's maybe a good option. The disadvantage, though, is that for that first week, she doesn't get any stickers. Sad times. Option 2, she could have put a little bit of money each week away and saved up for mum's present over time. And the advantage of that was she could still buy her stickers, just not as many each week. And she still got her mum's present by saving up for it. But I guess the disadvantage was for 4 weeks, she got fewer stickers than she normally would have done. So there's pros and cons to each one. And it's not a case of me saying, you know, always save or always spend your money. It's up to you. There are different choices in life, and not every adult uses their money in the same way. Here is Amir. Amir drops his bike on the floor and the bell breaks. Amir has been saving some of his pocket money each week. He has nearly enough money to buy a new bell. Okay, so again, maybe you're thinking already about what you would do in Amir's situation. Here are some of his options. Like I said, this is not the only things he could do, but here are some ideas. Option 1, he should ride his bike without a bell and keep his savings for something else. Option 2, he should wait to buy a brand new bell by continuing to save his pocket money. And option 3, he should ask for a bell for his birthday in 2 months' time. Okay, have a good think again. So pause the video here, have a chat at home. What would you do if you were Amir? Okay, so we've got some different options here, haven't we? And I would say this is an example of that rainy day that we were talking about. I mentioned that rainy days, you know, maybe something more for mum and dad and adults, but in this case, Amir's had a rainy day. He's had something that he had that has broken, and he's thinking about, how should I go about getting a new one, or should I even bother getting a new one? Now, option 1, he should ride his bike without a bell. Now, if you're a keen cyclist, you'll know that actually a bell is a really useful bit of safety equipment, because it alerts other people nearby that you're around. So if maybe you're going by a dog walker, for example, you can ring the bell and then the dog walker will turn around and know you're there. So quite a useful safety thing. So maybe that first option about riding without a bell, arguably not a great idea, but he'd keep his savings, wouldn't he? He would keep his savings for something else. Maybe he's been saving up for an Xbox and he doesn't want to spend his savings on this. Option 3, I'm going to go down to that one. So he should ask for a bell for his birthday in 2 months' time. Well, it's a good way of him avoiding having to pay for it, but it's going to mean he's 2 months without his bell, and maybe he doesn't want to be 2 months without his bell. And it said for option 2, he nearly had enough to pay for it, didn't he? He said he nearly had enough to pay for it with his pocket money. So option 2 was buy a bell out of his pocket money. But there's disadvantages to that as well, isn't there? Because then suddenly his savings are all gone, and maybe he'd been saving for something different. So there are always advantages and disadvantages with decisions like this. It's not a case of saying saving's always great and spending's always bad, or spending's always great and saving's always bad. It's up to you as a spender and a saver and someone that manages their own money to make these decisions. And sometimes it's not easy. Okay, so we've talked a bit about spending and saving then, and throughout I've said that there are good things and bad things about both. So I'd like to pause the video now and just have that conversation at home. What are some of the advantages of spending your money straight away? What are some of the disadvantages of spending your money straight away? What are some of the good things about saving and some of the bad things as well? So pause here and then we'll talk through some answers in a second. Okay, so spending, that means you've got your money, you go out and spend it. It does mean, of course, you can buy what you want if you can afford it. So if we go back to Amy, she earned £100, she can spend £100. She can do that if she wants to, can't she? But there are disadvantages to that, because it might mean not being able to afford more expensive items. So if Amy was saving up for a £400 games console, she's back to zero. So that's a disadvantage. And you might not have any money if you need it in an emergency. So if Amy's phone suddenly smashed, she wouldn't be able to afford to repair it. So good things and bad things about that. What about saving? If you're saving, you can afford bigger and more expensive things in the future. So yes, Amy could afford her £100 trainers, but actually if she'd saved, she could afford more exciting things in the future. If your savings are in a bank account, you can earn some extra money, and that's called interest. Now, we've not really spoken so much about where you would save your money, because I guess for you guys, a lot of you guys, maybe mum or dad keep it, or maybe you've got like a little money pot, but particularly for adults, they will save their money at the bank. And so a big business called a bank, they will look after your money for you. And as a little kind of reward for saving money, they will give you a very, very small amount of extra money each month called interest. Now, don't want you to get too excited. It's not a huge amount of money, not at the moment, but it is a little bit of money over time. So perhaps for every £1,000 you save, you might get a few extra pounds at the end of the year, which is nice. You will always have some money for an emergency. So yeah, this is a really handy thing. If you're saving and you've got a little pot of money that you have saved up, it means if something goes wrong, if you suddenly need it, if you've got that rainy day emergency, you've got a little bit of money that you can put towards it, and you don't need to then save up for something that suddenly becomes an issue. The disadvantages though, if you save your money, you could actually miss out on buying some of the things that you want. And that's really tough, isn't it? If maybe you get £2 a week pocket money and you save that £2, that's great for the future, but it's not so great for now. You don't get the things you want right now. The last one's a bit of an odd one, but it means, I'll read it first. It says you may end up never using the money to buy the item you were saving for. So if you're saving, let's say you want to save up for a nice £10 top, and you're really excited about your £10 top, and you're really saving for your £10 top. But then like Amir, your bike bell breaks and suddenly you need to spend it on that instead. You were saving up for that top and then actually you never get there because an emergency's come up. So a bit of a sad time as well. So there are definitely pros and cons to each of these things. And it's about thinking what's the most sensible thing to do in the circumstances. And that's always a decision for you to make. It's always a good idea to chat to mum and dad about this. If there's something you're really excited to buy, maybe have a chat to them about how you can afford it. And this is actually something I'd like for you to do this afternoon. I want you to think of something you'd like to save up for. Now, I should say at this point, it's probably best if we make this fairly realistic. So let's not say like a massive trip to the moon. Let's not say a Lamborghini sports car, because I'm sorry to have to break this to you. I don't think you're going to get there on your pocket money. Not right now. Work hard in school, get a good job, who knows, but probably not with your pocket money. So think about something you'd realistically like to buy, something you think, yeah, I think I can do that. I want you to think about how much money you have saved at the moment, if any. It's completely fine if not. You might not have any money saved up, but maybe you do. Maybe you've got a little bit of money. If you're given pocket money at home, you might do. Or if you earn money from doing chores at home, or if you have some other way of getting money at home, I want you to have a think about how long it would take you to save up for that item that you really want to buy. So this is going to require a little bit of sitting down, maybe getting out pen and paper, maybe having a chat with mum and dad or people at home. And I want you to really have a good think about what it is you want to save up for, how long it would take you to save up for it, and how you're going to get there. Are there any other things you'd like to buy before then? It's all well and good saying, right, I'm going to save all of my money and save up for a new video game, whatever. But maybe there's some things you want to buy in the meantime, and you need to factor that in as well. I've kind of deliberately left this quite open because I think you're all going to have different circumstances at home. You're all going to have different ways of earning money or getting money or being given money, all that kind of stuff. But make this kind of work for you. Have a good chat at home. Maybe do a little bit of maths, a bit of real life maths. Have a think about how you could save up for an item that you might want. And then you can make that decision. Is that something you want to do? Do you want to save up or do you want to spend all your money now? It's up to you. Okay, hopefully that will spark off a few interesting discussions at home and you can have a really good think about saving money and how that's going to work for you. Okay, have a good rest of the day, everyone, and I'll see you back for tomorrow's video lessons here on our YouTube channel. Thanks, everyone. Bye.